Hello and welcome to the first video in our Doc Diagnostics Reseller Training series. In this session we're going to take a look at the structure behind Doc Diagnostics, specifically licenses, logins and credits. The kind of stuff that you may need if you're pitching to a large client who has several different divisions or perhaps has requirements for administrators to be able to see certain groups of drivers but not others. Largely this is the kind of stuff that we're going to be doing behind the scenes for you when you make a sale, but we think it's quite important that you have an understanding of how it all works. So from the very top, let's have a look at the structure. So company, you sit at the very top of everything as the reseller. When you make a sale, we will create a license key. Now that might be one license key per client, or if you have a large client with different divisions, or perhaps a client who wants to roll out over a period of time in different stages, we'll create several, multiple license keys for each client. Underneath that, you will have one or more administrator logins. Now remember, the difference between a license key and a login is that you won't be able to log into the system with a license key. It's just a way of grouping drivers. An administrator login, although it might not look like an email address, is effectively a username which will have a password attached to it, which we can set up, and allows you to log in and view all the drivers that you have under that license key. So these are your users, and the number of users that you'll have attached to a license key will depend on the amount of credits that you've bought. Very important to note here that admin logins and user logins sit exactly the same on this rather crude bullet list that I've put together. That is to say that you can't have a group of users being viewed by a certain administrator several times under one license key. You can only have one very flat hierarchy here, where you've got the license key, a group of users, and one or more administrators who can view all users under that license key. The way that you would separate that is by having multiple license keys and assigning administrators to each of those independently. So let's have a look at a real example. So Fleet Drive is the company, which is the reseller. Now great news, they've gone and made a sale to HSBC. It's going to be a staged rollout, so what we've done is we've called the license key HSBC 001. HSBC 001-admin is the administrator username. Usually what we'll do is suffix the license key with -admin, because in the absence of a hierarchy where you as a reseller can go in and neatly view all of your clients in one page, this makes it quite easy for you to remember the format. So that admin login would have a password attached to it. And then here come your individual users. Now I've just put two there for example, Dave Wright and Chris Collins. They will each have a username and password to log into the system as drivers. If you as the administrator log in using HSBC 001-admin, you'll be able to see the progress of Dave and Chris, and depending on how many credits you've got, you can add additional drivers to the system. So now even better news, after selling into HSBC, you've also sold into Halifax. You've done exactly the same thing. Halifax 001, Halifax 001-admin is the administrator login, and Debbie and Martin have been entered onto the system as management trials. This is just a pilot at this stage, and potentially at a later stage they could have Halifax 002, which might be the first part of their main rollout. So just to illustrate what I'm talking about here, a license key is a way of grouping certain drivers within different divisions of a client or each individual client. You can see there that the administrator can only view users within that license key. So hopefully that's given you an idea, a bit better of an idea, how Doc Diagnostics works behind the scenes. Of course, if you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us and we'll be happy to give you a more thorough demonstration. Thank you very much for listening.